Yo, what's good? I just watched Blue Blood video about what's going on with Hearn and the Dazn and everything. On this little drive home or whatever, they had to stop and grab some tacos right fast or whatever. But I was in the mood to talk a little boxing, especially about this particular issue here. Like, I'm gonna be honest about this one. It didn't so much catch me off guard. I just didn't expect it this early. And what I mean by that is, I expected the Dazn to start pressing Hearn. I expected it within the next maybe year or so, because let's just be honest, he's not. If he was giving them the quality of fights that they wanted, then they would have not been so pressed to sign Canelo Alvarez. But since he's not delivering the type of fights that they want, since he's not giving them the type of fights they want, then they had to go out and get a Canelo, because they know the possibility of Canelo giving them the fights they want. And considering what they got at middleweight, it made sense. Because right now, like I said, and a lot of people need to be pressing Joshua because of this. They whole thing, the Zone looked at it like this. All right, you got Anthony Joshua, you got a decent stable of fighters. You know, you got Kell Brook, and you know, outside of Kell Brook, I mean, you got a name in Amir Khan that can do numbers. I'm sure Khan versus Brook is going to be on the Zone if they fight in April. But outside of that, I mean, you see they didn't pick up Dillian White and Derek Chisora, so that shows you their interest level in a Dillian White fight. Off the rip, it shows you what they think of Dillian White. So outside of those names, which is the number one name they wanted was Anthony Joshua, he gives you a Povetkin fight that didn't do numbers. The only fight that he can give you to do the numbers that they want is Wilder and Fury, possibly. But both of those guys are under Showtime contract. Showtime has both of those guys. So right now, when it comes to negotiations, both Fury and Wilder got a stronger hand than what Hearn is letting people on to. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest right now. Both Fury and Wilder have a stronger hand than Hearn is letting people on to, because Hearn knows he cannot make the fights that Anthony Joshua needs to bring those numbers that he probably promised the Zone. Sorry about that, but he probably promised the Zone a certain amount of numbers for Anthony Joshua, this, that, and the third. All right, we're going to deliver you the Wilder fight. We're going to deliver. He has no leverage in these negotiations now. Deontay Wilder has already said it. 50-50, no fight. Whether you agree with it or not, personally, I agree with it. I agree with it. The man has been WBC champion longer than Anthony Joshua has been a unified or a champion in general. The man has fought 2 of the top 4 heavyweights. The only one missing is Anthony Joshua. If I'm Deontay Wilder, if he's not talking 50-50, I'm not talking. Especially when I got a rematch with Fury sitting right here. Especially when I can have a trilogy with Tyson Fury. If I'm Deontay Wilder, that's what I'm thinking. If I don't beat him this time, I can have a trilogy with this dude. And it's gonna sell. I guarantee you, Showtime pay-per-view. If Fury Wilder 2 doesn't do 1 million pay-per-views, it's gonna double the pay-per-view. I think they said it did what? 300,000 this time around, the first time up. Guarantee it does over 600,000. Guarantee it does over 600,000. It's gonna do pretty close, if not 1 million pay-per-views. I wouldn't be surprised if it hits 1 million, just because of what type of fight it was that first time around, and word of mouth. Now those two people, now people know those two names. Now people know what they can bring. Now people know, hey, they can put on a hell of a fight. The second fight's got to be just as good, if not better. They have all the leverage when talking to Anthony Joshua. Now, what we're going to see here is we're going to see a lot of pride and a lot of ego. We've seen a lot of pride and ego swallowing when AJ was doing his little media rounds here in the United States. That's what that was. He wanted to keep his name relevant, but he had to swallow his pride. For real, he had to swallow his pride. And this is not me going on to AJ or anything like that. Don't get it twisted. This is exactly what it was, folks. He knows that leverage that he claimed he had, that leverage ain't there. The leverage that they thought they had, son, that leverage is not there. And it really was never there. Just because the way they negotiated with the Dazn in general. And like I said, now the Dazn has Canelo. Canelo's going to bring in more views than Anthony Joshua, folks. Canelo has a chance. Canelo can fight Danny Jacobs, more views. Canelo can fight Demetrius Andrade, more views. Canelo can fight Charlo, more views. If the Dazn signs Triple G Canelo 3, more views than what Anthony Joshua can against anybody not named Fury or Wilder. It's that simple. And those fights are way more makeable right now. Those fights are way more makeable right now. Oscar then kind of slid in there, knowing what he had in Canelo. Oscar then kind of slid in there with a little stroke, man. And Oscar already knows the U.S. market. That's just truth being told. Despite this some old crackhead ingenuity, bro. Because I mean, for real, despite what people may say about Oscar, I'm one that'll tell you, hey, Richard Schaefer, Golden Boy ain't been the same since Richard Schaefer left. Despite who went to Al Haymon, this, that, and the third, Richard Schaefer built Golden Boy. But Oscar, man, Oscar is that hustling ass crackhead that be on the corner, that always find his way into some shit. You know what I'm saying? When you think that motherfucker down and out, that motherfucker come back up. And that's what Oscar is right now, man. He done found a way to pimp Canelo into getting all this money from the Dazn, signing a broadcasting deal with the Dazn, everything else. I gotta give Oscar his props, though. And truth be told, like I said, you don't see them promoting. I don't know about UK fans or international fans. You don't see the Dazn promoting Anthony Joshua as far as like a promotion for the amp. You see Canelo. You see Canelo. They know they have a bigger star in Canelo than Anthony Joshua. And that don't spell good. That don't spell good. There's nothing good about that if you edit Hearn. There's nothing good about that whatsoever. Because, like I said, by them not broadcasting the Dillian White, Derek Chisora fight, which is going to be a decent scrap, don't get me wrong, that shows you they don't give a fuck about Dillian White, bro. They don't give a fuck. So as far as like you trying to fight Dillian White in Wembley, to who? Who gonna broadcast him? Showtime? You gonna go back to Showtime for that one too? And Showtime's sitting pretty. Yeah, we'll show that. We'll get a couple of thousand views for that. Yeah, we'll show that. Yeah, you know, Showtime's sitting back looking pretty right now. They got a little change. Eddie Hearn done pimped himself into a bad predicament on this one, bro. Now, that's just the bottom line. Eddie Hearn done pimped himself into a bad predicament on this one, man. Because, like I said, unless he swallows his pride and admits that, yo, these guys deserve and are going to get a little bit more than what I initially thought. My guy is not the draw that I thought he was. And in order to make these fights, to make him the draw that I think he can be, because don't get it twisted, Anthony Joshua has what it takes to be a major draw across the globe. Like I said, I'm not hating on it. I'm just speaking from a realistic standpoint. Anthony Joshua has what it takes to be a major draw across the world. He just ain't got the bodies. He just ain't got the bodies. Now, with that said, this is how you make Anthony Joshua draw. You know you're not going to get the Wilder Fury fight next. I'm just being honest. You're not going to get the Wilder Fury fight next. I mean, excuse me. You're not going to get a fight with Wilder and Fury next. Those two can make too much money with themselves than with Anthony Joshua at this point. Just being honest. You know you're not going to get either one of those two next. You go out and you fight Luis Ortiz. You're saying that you want the best. Luis Ortiz is one of the best. He's one of the top 4 heavyweights. Not 5, top 4 heavyweights in the world right now. You know you're one, or you claim to be one. You know the other 2 are tied up, and they dancing right now. You go out and get the other one. And if you have a better showing than Deontay Wilder, hey, that does nothing but boost your stock. Is it a dangerous fight for him to take? Yes. But you got to think, Deontay Wilder just fought him and Tyson Fury back to back. So it ain't like he's taking, like, it ain't like he ain't doing nothing that ain't been done before in this division. It's the heavyweight division. Every fight should be dangerous. But if you ask my opinion, Joshua need to be looking at Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz ain't got a dance partner. Luis Ortiz is calling everybody trying to take somebody to the dance, if you ask me. But he ain't got a dance partner. What's the hold up? What's the hold up? Because nobody's gonna accept. If he's fighting Dillian White next, I'm not gonna. If he's fighting Big Baby Miller, I'm not watching that. Like, why would I want to see him fight Big Baby Miller? Big Baby Miller, in my opinion, has done nothing to deserve a title fight against Wilder or Joshua. He's done nothing to get a big fight. Like, nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. And I have not been impressed by Big Baby Miller. To be damn near 300 pounds, he packs no power. No power. Not enough power to me to bother a Joshua or Wilder or even a Dillian White. Honestly, I don't see anything special about Big Baby Miller other than he's just fucking big. That's it. The dude's damn near 300 pounds. That's the only thing I see out of Big Baby Miller. But other than that, I don't see nothing out that dude, bro. I really don't. I have yet to be impressed by that dude. He's not shown me or fought the opposition to make me impressed with him. And I'm just being 100 about it, bro. I mean, you may have some Big Baby Miller fans out there. You may. I'm just not one of them. He hasn't shown me anything. He's gotta make me a fan. He's gotta fight somebody and prove to me, like, all right, he's got the goods. He can do, you know, I would like to see him in with an upper tier heavyweight or whatever. But until he does that, I mean, the jury's still out. Has he done anything to deserve? Like, if Miller and Joshua fight in Brooklyn, that's a rumor that's going around too that I heard. If they fight in April in Brooklyn, that fight's not gonna do very many numbers. It's not gonna do the numbers like that. Even though Miller's from fucking Brooklyn, I think he's from Brooklyn. He's from New York, but I think he is from Brooklyn. Even though Miller's from Brooklyn, and Joshua being the unified heavyweight champion, I don't think that fight does the numbers that people think it's gonna do. I really don't. Because like I said, I mean, you're going to have people that think like me, like, this is not the fight I want to see Joshua in against Big Baby Miller. That's the first thing. This is not the fight we want. Second thing is, Miller has done absolutely nothing. He hasn't been tested. He's done absolutely nothing. Like, why would I want to waste my money going to this fight? Why would I waste my money? Unless you're in the general area and you have nothing to do that night, maybe, or something like that, and you just want to check it out. Or, you know, hopefully Joshua can prove to be enough of a draw that, you know, it does pretty decent business in Brooklyn. I don't see it selling out at all, but, and I doubt Matchroom could put on an undercard that'll be sufficient enough to sell it out. But You know, you're gonna have you're gonna have pretty much an unfamiliar name against Anthony Joshua in Brooklyn. And even though Big Baby Miller isn't from Brooklyn, he's still an unfamiliar name to a lot of casual boxing fans. He is. That's just truth being told. He's an unfamiliar fame to a lot of casual boxing fans. So his best bet is to fight Luis Ortiz next. Even in Brooklyn. Do it in Brooklyn. That fight draws more in Brooklyn than him and Miller. Folks, Wilder and Ortiz happened in Brooklyn. People know, hey, this man almost had Wilder. His stock didn't drop off that Wilder fight. His stock has only risen since that Wilder fight. His stock rose because of the Wilder fight in a loss. That fight does better numbers in Brooklyn than Miller Joshua. Mark my words. If I were Eddie Hearn and I was Anthony Joshua, I would be calling Luis Ortiz. Because like I said, it's inevitable that Wilder versus Fury 2 is going to happen first. It's inevitable. It's going to happen first. Before either one of those guys look across the ring and see Anthony Joshua, they're going to see each other again. It's just going to do too much business right now. It's hot. The anvil is hot, and they got to keep striking at it right now. And I don't blame them. Anybody with common sense wouldn't blame them right now. So, if I were Anthony Joshua, like I said, I'd be hollering at Luis Ortiz. Otherwise, Dazn wants these fights, man. Dazn would be very happy, if you ask me, with a Luis Ortiz fight. That's just my opinion. They'd be very happy with a Luis Ortiz fight. They'll be much happier with that than a Derek Chisora, a Dillian White, or a Big Baby Miller. That's just my opinion. So, like I said, if I were them, I would be hollering at Luis Ortiz, and I'd be trying to get that fight made. I'm out.